Passport Mommy with Michelle Jerson. Motherhood is both amazing and difficult at the same time. The Passport Mommy, Michelle Jerson, is here to share in your journey.
It's amazing. It really is, just watching them grow and see how much change and how much they learn just without the filters around them.
Joining you on your greatest adventure, here's Michelle Jerson, the Passport Mommy.
Welcome to the show. I hope everybody had a great Halloween. Did you go trick-or-treating? I know around here in the Northeast, it was raining. And I have to say that for days leading up to Halloween, all I saw on all of the moms' message boards were, oh my gosh, what are we going to do? Should we postpone Halloween? Should we ask our town to do it the next day so the kids could go trick-or-treating? And I just thought, wow, it's really kind of insane. First of all, you could just go out with umbrellas if you really wanted to still go trick-or-treating, or you just don't. And I feel like you have spent the whole month of October doing Halloween type things anyway, that it's no big deal. But I have with me today my good friend, comic and dad, Marshall Stevenson, and we are going to spend this entire show talking toddler topics because we have so much to catch up on. It's been a few weeks since we've spoken. And so we're going to start talking about Halloween because I want to ask you something, Marshall, about that. But thank you so much for being here again.
Well, I know how to do Halloween in the rain. It's the way we do Halloween when it rains.
What's that?
It's just live in an apartment building.
Right. I know. That's what I miss. I said to my husband, I said, if we were still in our apartment building where we went from door to door to door, 30 floors last year, I said, that's too bad we're not there. And he's like, oh, it's not trick-or-treating. I'm like, that's absolutely trick-or-treating. And it was
not
a great time.
Trick-or-treating? Why? What makes it any less trick-or-treating? Getting hit by a car is, which, by the way, they say is more of a hazard than any kind of razor blades and candy. So just be aware.
Exactly. They say more accidents happen, more, people getting hit by cars on Halloween than any other day of the year.
It's harder to see you when you dress like Batman. It really is. It's in the rain. I think I'm with them. Maybe they should cancel Halloween if it's raining. It's too hazardous out there. I mean, everyone gets out there like they're in in a bathing suit because they're, Greg Louganis for Halloween, and then they get sick, and it's terrible.
Right. Exactly. Well, I have to say that, I don't know, either I have to just get with the program a little more or what, but for at least a month, I have been stressing over what to dress my family as for Halloween, because in my mind, I'm thinking we need to have a family Halloween costume. Last year, we were all from the Wizard of Oz. My daughter was Dorothy. I was the Scarecrow. My husband was the Tin Man. And it was the cutest thing. And my brother and his family is so good at coming up with these elaborate family costumes that I don't know. I guess I just always feel the pressure. And for a month, I've been like, what can we do? What can we do? What can we do? And then I thought maybe Baby Shark, because they came out with this new Baby Shark costume with there's a sound chip in it. I'm like, I'm not spending $35 a costume for all of us for that, for one night. And so I don't know. So it ended up coming down to the last minute. Still really had nothing. I said to my daughter, I'm like, what do you want to be for Halloween? She's like, Mickey Mouse. I'm like, great. And that was the end of it.
Okay, I think that you're totally going about this wrong. First of all, you're reading the Mon blogs. Everybody's stressing about Halloween. I mean, first of all, like these kids, 2, 3 years old, they have opinions. So you should have started with, what do you want to be for Halloween? What did you came up with this, plan for you and your husband and your kid to go as some, theme message character and, it stressed you out for a month?
Well, I was just trying to come up with something that she was really into.
I think that it's crazy to be stressed out about it. It's Halloween. I think it's stressed out to be I think it's crazy to be stressed out for college entrance exams, but Halloween stress? What kind of pressure is coming from whom? Now, I thought that a kid has a lot of stuff in the apartment. So it's like, hey, let's go through your toys and see if there's any funny hat to wear. No?
Yeah,
you got to go coordinate it. You got to call in Steven Spielberg. You got to have a consultant. You got to go to the Halloween store. You got to buying a costume. I mean, there's no fun there. I mean, right. I mean, I say that, but she got a costume from her cousin. It's a spacesuit, and I didn't make it, so she's an astronaut.
That's a great costume. Yeah. And I was thrilled when my daughter said she wanted to be Mickey Mouse. I was like, okay. So I went to Target and I found a cute little Minnie Mouse dress. And then last year, when I had ordered candles for her birthday, for some reason, Amazon sent me Mickey Mouse ears instead. They got my order wrong. So I had these laying around the house and I was like, great, here we go. So we dressed up as that for daycare.
Laying around the house is the operative part. I mean, this is a general philosophy about Halloween. Like if you go spend $50 on a costume that has like a fan, so your caboose like blows up, like what's the point of that? Like who's impressed? Right. You bought it. Somebody else designed it.
Right.
So like one year I was chicken and broccoli. That was a nice costume.
Oh, that's awesome.
So I just kinked my hair out and sprayed it green and like made with poster board like a takeout thing, and then had a rubber chicken. And then one year I was the Chrysler Building. These are, these weren't great. I mean, I didn't I wasn't going to win any prop awards.
No, but you're creative.
But you can't find face paint or and first of all, follow the kid's lead. Like, we're not going to be like, okay, the three of us have a plan to be Dorothy and the Scarecrow, and you have to do this. What do you mean you want to do this? We've been playing this for months. She doesn't want to trick or treat. We'll be like, all right, what do you want to do instead?
Right, exactly. And I'm so glad I ended up going that route, because last year I picked Dorothy because our first song that we started singing together was Somewhere Over the Rainbow. And then I saw on one of the mom's boards that somebody was selling a Dorothy costume for $10. So I was like, perfect. And, at that age, she didn't really, I don't think she could talk enough to tell me what she really wanted to be. But this year she did. And so I was happy to do it. But I have to say, so then we went to daycare this morning and they had a little Halloween parade. And beforehand, when I was getting her dressed in the morning, I was trying everything just to take a picture, because I did put her hair in little ears, Mickey Mouse ear shapes in braids. And I was like, oh, let me just get one cute picture. She didn't want to have it. She kept giving me the attitude look whenever I would try to get a picture of her. I was like, great, we're starting already. So it's like I think, put so much pressure on ourselves to just get our kids to look the way we want them to for Halloween, and then take a cute picture. If they don't want to take a cute picture, they don't want to take a cute picture. Just leave it alone.
Well, I mean, it's you. I don't do that.
I know. That's what I'm saying. So I'm like, I learned something about myself this year. I was like, I got to stop that. And then when we got to school, so many of the other moms brought in treats for the other kids in her class, and I didn't. And I was like, oh, daycare fail. I didn't even think to do that.
Well, wait a minute. If that was just an idea they had, who cares? That's great. Then I don't you can't get caught up in this.
I know. I just want to make sure that when the kids are bringing in treats for other kids, that I'm not the one person that's not doing anything for them. Because I would like to. I guess I'm just so caught up in the day to day that I don't even think about these things sometimes.
Yeah, I don't. Worry about bigger stuff. But Halloween, I figure it's one of these things where she'll just, when she wants to do it, she'll get to do it. Me pushing anything on her, trick-or-treating is just you want. And at 2, we didn't do trick-or-treating. When she was almost 2.
Right.
We didn't do trick-or-treating at all. It was just you want to trick-or-treat? She's like, what? I'm like, okay.
Exactly.
No trick-or-treating.
That's why I didn't even talk to her about that this year, because I knew it was going to rain. I know we have really no other option. They do have an option at the local mall where you can go, and I just think that's probably going to be insanity. So I didn't even really say anything, and I don't think she'll think anything of it if I don't. So
absolutely not. And she already did Halloween with the Halloween parade, which sounds lovely.
Right.
New York City has a policy against Halloween or something. They're not allowed to have Halloween in the classroom.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I didn't. Oh, we should talk about this topic, except I didn't look enough into it. So,
yeah,
isn't that amusing? Oh, I wish that I had figured out what kind of weird excuse they had for not doing it. I was like, oh, okay, no Halloween.
Right. Interesting. I wonder why. I wonder if they think it's a danger because kids could come in with things in their costume, or I don't know. Maybe it's a safety thing.
Yeah, let's speculate on what it is. Maybe they feel it may feel like an expense, Although, again, I still think that the most homemade costumes are the best.
Yeah, I agree with you. So, we can look into that, but it was really fun seeing you. I have to say, the other day we went to the Big Apple Circus, and I want to talk to you about the circus, and I want to hear how your daughter enjoyed it and how you enjoyed it. But part of what went on during this circus for my daughter, at least in the second half, was her telling me that she had to pee every 2 minutes and running out to the bathrooms. And of course, I don't want to ignore her when she says she has to go. But a lot of times she didn't really have to go. And I got the tour of all of the bathrooms because then one was locked and she was like, I have to go, I have to go. So then we bolted to the porta potties and there was this long line. It was like all this crazy stress. And then we got there and guess what? I don't have to go pee-pee. So let's talk about the circus next. Let's talk about, because I know you have an update when it comes to potty training as well. And so I want to hear.
This is good because then I'll talk to you about my dysfunction. Yeah, I mean, to me, that just sounds like she didn't want to be at the circus anymore, and she figured she would stall you, so she didn't have to go back to the circus. So,
I don't know if that was it. I don't know, but we'll talk about that coming up next. I'm Michelle Jerson, the Passport Mommy, here with Marshall Stevenson. More toddler topics in a few.
Motherhood is a journey. Joining you on your greatest adventure, here's Michelle Jerson, the Passport Mommy.
We were saying before the break that we were both at the Big Apple Circus the other day, and I'm so glad that we were able to go together. I can't remember the last time I was there. I think it was probably about, 15 years ago. And so it was really fun to go back with my daughter, who's 2.5, and, my son, who's 5 months. I'm just glad that he didn't have a tantrum there. And your daughter, who's also 2.5. So, Marsh, what did you think about the circus?
I thought it was great. I hadn't been to the Big Apple Circus in, let's say, 35 years. Yeah, that sounds about right, right? That's when it first started. I was like, 10 or, more, 37 years, 38 years, 40 years. When did the Big Apple Circus start? I remember it was like, this is a different circus than Ringling Brothers. It was interesting because I hadn't seen a circus as an adult. I saw it as a kid, and so you see it in different eyes. It's really great fun. I mean, it was great because we hadn't really taken our daughter is almost 3. We haven't really taken her to a place where you sit down and watch live theater, and it was cool that it actually captivated her. And so watching her getting excited because the horses, they were doing that acrobatics. I mean, I think anything's cool where you see people that show you their craft. They did all this cool stuff, and there was trapeze and the people tightrope, and then this thing where this guy's running on this weird grate and doing somersaults on this moving thing. I mean, it was pretty exhilarating. I thought it was good.
Yeah, I agree. And it's funny. My husband turns to me and he's like, what makes somebody just decide to wake up one day and say, hey, I'm going to run on a wheel and do somersaults on it?
When their dreams of going into the Olympics were broken and they were devastated and decided they needed an income. So
right.
I'll join the circus and do strange acrobatics because I'm amazing athletically, but are not going to make the Olympics.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
That's a guess.
It was quite amazing. I mean, from the juggling to the things that we just said to, I think you had left just as they were starting to do all of these this major trapeze thing where people were just getting thrown back and forth. I mean, it was just really cool. Yeah, it really is. And you know what's funny? In prepping for the day, I was telling my daughter, I was like, yeah, we're going to see elephants and da-da-da. And it just shows how out of it I am because I bet the circus has changed so much and a lot because of animal rights, probably why they don't have as many animals in the circus anymore.
Can we talk about how they had cats?
That was during one of our pee-pee breaks, but I did see it.
Oh my goodness. I remember Barnum and Bailey's circus and you had like Siegfried and Roy, the one that got eaten by his own tiger or whatever the story was.
Yes.
So then we see the Big Apple Circus is fast forward 35 years after I saw the circus the last time, and they're using tabby cats and anyway, but it was cute and it was quick and Oh, and they also had this nice thing going on with this, like, woman dressed as a pigeon because it's like the Big Apple Circus, so it's New York.
Right.
She, and we're making jokes about her pooping, and but by the way, we left ahead at intermission because there's like no story arc in a circus, so it's just going to be more of the same stuff. I mean, different, but more. And we thought as a live theater thing that was a good amount for her.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, they just have such an attention span. And I was saying before that my daughter, towards the end, started saying she had to go pee-pee every 5 seconds, but we could talk about that in the next segment. But I agree. I really did like it. I liked the pigeon instead of last time I went, I think there was a clown. And I like that they gave it a twist to be New York.
Clowns anymore.
No.
Clowns are scary and kill people and... Right?
I know.
You can't do clowns at the circus anymore. First they banned the elephants, then they banned the clowns.
Yeah,
like
it's
the guy,
totally
certainly
different.
the guy who's riding a bicycle on a tightrope. Like he's wonder if he's next.
Oh gosh. Well, I hope not. But that was pretty amazing. And I love that with the Big Apple Circus, the venue, it's cute. It's in a tent, and no matter where you're sitting, you can see everything. It was just a really nice place and way to see the circus.
I mean, I'm always surprised seeing these things for kids like 40 years later that the music is loud because it's not like it's pop music, it's rap music, it's stuff that's sometimes edgy, and it always surprises me because I always think like the grandmas and the parents are going to be stodgy about that, but they're not. Like, you go to weddings now, and nobody cares. Everything's really loud.
Right,
so that
exactly.
surprises me. But that's because I'm, like, living in another planet. So
maybe
don't take note of that.
You're the one that's getting older and crutchy, and you're going to be the one that's being like, lower the radio, lower the music.
No, I'm actually not crotchety because I kind of like it. It just surprises me. It's just like, really? Like this, but anyway, but it wasn't that loud anyway. It was, it wasn't like normal, but it was just, it was like, it was high energy, and it wasn't high energy like the circus from the 1950s. It would it's modern.
Right, exactly. And I thought, and I'm very sensitive to loudness because of my 5-month-old. And at first I thought, oh, maybe we should have brought his headphones. But then I was like, no, it was fine. And he was also captivated by it. I saw him and he was just watching, everything the whole time. He was so great. So one thing that we were talking about was how much my daughter got up to go to the bathroom. And thank goodness potties were accessible there. But let's talk in the next segment, because you have an update when it comes to potty training. I have an update as far as what's going on. We're talking with Marshall Stevenson. He is a New York City comic and dad, my good friend. And we're talking toddler topics, and we're going to talk potty training and what's going on with both of our daughters coming up next.
Passport Mommy with Michelle Jerson. Motherhood is a journey. Joining you on your greatest adventure, here's Michelle Jerson, the Passport Mommy.
Welcome back to the show. So we're talking potty training, and I'm so glad you're back, Marshall, because the last time that we were talking, you were saying how your daughter was going pee-pee in the potty sometimes, but then sometimes waiting until she had a diaper. And then ever since we talked last time, you were motivating to me to start my daughter with potty training. So we've been doing it for, a few weeks now. So Marshall Stevenson, thank you so much for being here with me today. Tell me what's going on with your daughter with potty training.
Well, it's nice to be here. And by the way, I don't have to say go pee-pee. I can just say she peed, right? Like, because we don't, the kids are not part of this discussion, right?
Yes, I know. It's so pee-pee, crazy the way I speak now.
I wish we have a duty versus poop debate.
Right.
All right, so obviously, getting mired in this stuff, you got to be a parent to, appreciate that it's okay to talk about this stuff. But we have a little cuckoo issue now with her and potty training. We tried to potty train around 2, and she was extremely resistant, and we pressed a little bit, which we realized we shouldn't have done, or at least we don't think we should have done. And she got very upset, and so we put it off. Then we tried it again, and she got equally upset. I mean, she was really kind of just a ball of anxiety when we were trying to potty train her, and she was like holding it in and holding it in. Now, she was, I'm sorry, this is a long story. So she was essentially potty trained in that they say when you potty train, you know, take off their diaper, have them walk around naked for the whole day or whatever. Well, because she knew that we would give her a diaper at night, which maybe was a mistake. I don't want to go down that road. Like, she just waited until the night diaper went on to pee.
Did you
she held
her with, like,
all
snacks?
Day.
Wow.
We gave her a lot of water. We gave her a lot of milk, which this is part of the issue. She now connected this. Like, so she doesn't want to potty train. She wants to be in diapers. And so we had a couple of, I'm sure we made mistakes along that. Maybe we started too late if we were going to do it that way. So then we went to school, and the school wanted her in pull-ups. Now, she's still very young. She's not even 3 years old. So this isn't like when in the first grade, like school. So we went to school, and they wanted her in pull-ups. So we get a call that she's drinking very little, and her pull-ups are dry. She doesn't like pull-ups. She doesn't want to pee in the pull-up. So sure enough, we say, okay, we're just going to hold this off. It's the one thing that's upsetting her and nothing else. For real. Like this, just talking about potty training starts biting her nails. It's we have to like figure this out from probably some more professional place. But so we talked to the teacher, and we decided she doesn't like the pull-ups, but she's still in diapers, so they're going to start putting her in diapers instead, regular diapers.
Okay.
And sure enough, this morning she asks for like 6 ounces, 7 ounces of milk. She never does that in the morning before school. But now she knows she's going to get to wear a diaper at school. Now she wants to drink.
Wow.
She's scared. She keeps holding it in. She doesn't want to go in there, and she saves it up until she gets home. So she's not drinking to avoid peeing.
Wow. Well, smart girl to know that the correlation is there. But let me ask you, what I don't understand is the difference between a diaper and a pull-up, besides the fact of just how you put it on. What is the difference? Because you can pee and poop in a pull-up, right? But just the same as you can in a diaper. Is it just that they're not as absorbent and it's just the way you put them on?
Can I answer that question with a question?
Yeah.
Is there a difference between a whole cracker and a broken cracker? These kids are so particular. Like, I don't think that I think if we gave her a different brand of diaper, she wouldn't pee in it. She will only eat chicken if her grandmother makes it. She will not eat any other type of chicken. She will eat only a whole cashew if it's broken, down the set. She will not eat it. Right. So now I don't know if this just means that we are going to have real more compounding awful problems, but yeah, I think it just feels a little bit different. And so, well, maybe just because the way they put it on, she thinks it's underwear. And because she essentially is potty trained, she refuses to go in it.
Wow. Do you try to entice her with like presents and stickers and things that would make her really happy? Like basically bribery if she went pee-pee? Went pee-pee? Went pee-pee.
Yeah, she peed. Yeah, like we did. We tried everything. And, okay, so I'm on this new kick now, and I don't know how it's going to, relate to this whole thing. But, like, I read somewhere that potty training is unnecessary, that there will be a moment in time before they're 4 years old where as long as you talk about it and show them, they will express interest in it, and everything you do as far as pressure or we're taking diapers away or we're making you do this is totally stress and anxiety that's not necessary. But that's just a school of thought.
Right. That's an interesting one. I mean, I will say that I kind of thought maybe I was so scared to start potty training because I didn't think that my daughter would be ready, but she's always been fascinated with every time I'm going pee-pee or every time I go to the bathroom.
Every time you're peeing. Come on, man. This is the way dad jokes start. This is because dads who are normally, they start talking in in humor language that's like dad jokes, and they can't get out of it. We're adults. You got to say when you pee, not when you go pee-pee.
Oh my goodness. I can't believe I'm there. I can't believe I just said that. But yeah, so whenever I would go to the bathroom, she'd always want to join me and she'd ask what I was doing, and she always wanted to flush and she wanted to help me wipe. So I felt like she was already kind of there. But it did, we still go through, I would say my challenge with her is I'll say, do you have to go? She'll say no. And then a second later, she might have an accident. And, so I'll say again, do you have to go? And then there's times that I'll say, we're going on the toilet. And I don't want it to be forceful because I don't want her to then not want to do it. But the times that I just know that she needs to go and I put her on the toilet, and then the second she sits down, she goes. But I heavily rewarded her at the beginning. Like I was like, I'll give you a present. I'll give you a sticker. I'll give you snacks. And I had asked them at daycare, I said, do you have any suggestions to avoid some accidents and to entice her to go? And they say, yeah, we find snacks works well. They put up a sticker wall for her. So I don't know, but it's still a work in progress. She was supposed to go stay with my parents for a few days. And, my parents said to me the other day, we're not taking her unless she's fully potty trained or unless you put pull-ups on her the whole time she's here. And I was like, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to, with all the progress that I think we're making, going to set her back and say, well, we're putting on pull-ups all the time. She'll wonder why. And then I feel like she may be reliant on that again. I
think that's right. I can't really blame them. I think parents have to realize that if they're going to undertake potty training, they're going to have to do all the work themselves, and they're going to have to not really be doing much of anything else for a while. I mean, that's part of the reason they say just don't potty train.
Yeah.
I mean, at a certain point, they're not going to want to be in diapers. It's not like a habit that you're going to have to break them of. There's a certain point. I mean, if they're in school and nobody's in diapers and they're going to get out of those diapers pretty quick.
Yeah, I would hope so. I would hope, and they'd want to. I mean, I know once she does start going on the toilet, she's always very proud of herself once she does it. And I always say, great, great job. High five. So proud of you, all that stuff. And I'm sure you've done the same. So what are you going to do now? What are your next steps with your girl?
I think the next step is to talk to a social worker and try to figure out how to do this. But I mean, my instinct, I'll tell you, is to just completely back off and just be like, all right, you wear your diapers as long as you want. You tell us when you don't. Because I will see something else that I'm seeing. Maybe we're giving into this is the wrong path, and I don't know. But when you tell her to do something, then she becomes resistant to it. But if she does it on her own, then she's willing to do it. So it's like we go to school every day. There's a gentleman at the reception who every day tries to slap her 5. And every time I asked her to slap her 5, she wouldn't do it. And then I just stopped asking her. And 3 weeks later, she started doing it on her own.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So it's like that kind of a thing where, you're in a public place, an elevator or subway in New York City, and somebody says hi. And I'm like, why don't you say hi back? I realize, if she doesn't say hi to the person, I should not prompt her to, because it's making her even less willing to do it. Because she's battling for her own, they want to be able to be self-sufficient and independent in their own people, and they're battling you. It's like they're teenagers.
Right. Or she could have the stranger danger thing, which is good too, where she's like, well, why should I say hi to this person? I don't know them.
Well, I think that there's a component of that too, but I don't think that's what's going on here. I think that she just doesn't want to do it because I asked her. Right.
It could be. I mean, my daughter's the same way when we're in the elevator and wherever we are, if somebody says hello, it's just instinctual. I'll say hi, honey, say hi. And it's like, why should I say that? Why should I insist that she says hello? But it's just our natural, I think, way to say that, because I don't know. We want the other person to feel fulfilled that our daughter said hello to them. I'm not sure.
Well, no, I think that we also want her to be able, we see it as a sign of maturity that if somebody says good morning, you say good morning back. We say, because that's what grown-ups do. And so we're trying to coach her on how to be a grown-up. But the reality is, and now I'm getting, more confidence in this opinion as we talk about it, is we should just set the right example, because eventually she'll just copy us. And that's what they always say. Like, if you always say good morning to everybody in the elevator, then the first time she's in the elevator without you, she's going to say good morning. unless it's
That's
even.
a good point. Yeah. I mean, I've been pretty surprised how often my daughter is saying, thank you and you're welcome. When I do something for her, she says, thank you. I'm like, oh my gosh, where did that come from?
Isn't that
But
nice?
I think what's that?
I said, isn't that nice?
It is. It is. And I think it just must be from observing.
My wife is convinced that the kid becomes whatever that you tell them they are. So if you're like, oh my God, you're so good at art, they'll just like, they'll want to like fulfill that, and then it's just like work on it. Yeah. I mean, it's a little manipulative, but it's like, she actually was making the point that if you keep telling a kid they're no good, they'll be no good. Like it's the contrary to that one.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, what I've been really trying to work on is when I'm not happy with the way she's doing something or what she's doing, instead of saying, no, we don't do that. Stop doing that. I'm trying to say it in a more positive way and flip it around and say, we do this, or, but I still find myself saying no and don't and all these things a lot, which I'm trying not to, because I don't want her to feel that I'm always coming down on her for things.
Makes sense. And then they start doing it to you. That's why I start getting yelled at for having shoes in my own house. They were like, you have to take your shoes off. I do? Why? Who made that rule?
That's funny. I know. It's the craziest thing. Now my daughter, I don't know where she picked this up from, but she's been saying, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And I'm like, where'd that come from? I mean, it sounds cute, but that's not something that I would expect her to be saying.
Didn't your daughter drop a big F-bomb when she was 7 months old after hearing it somewhere? Didn't I get that story somewhere?
I feel like she said, no, what did she said? The BS. She said, she said that out. All
right, so what are we talking about? Potty training? Is that what this segment is about? So potty training has turned into something that we can't figure out whether she's scared to actually do it or it's something like she's scared to grow up. I mean, it might even just be that, of the security of it, or it's a defiance thing, we're pushing it on her and she's just like, I'm not ready, because every time we say, when do you want to do it? She said, I'm going to do it next week.
Right. Okay. And you know what? I think maybe it's not a defiance thing. And maybe it really is. I think some kids, when I told somebody recently that my daughter's 2.5 and we're working on it, she's like, oh, wow, that's pretty early. I don't think it's out of the norm for your daughter to want to wait a little while longer. And I think people do it at different times. And you know what? A year from now, her teachers, her friends, no one's going to know, wow, this one potty trained when they were 2.5. This one potty trained when she was 3.5. Who cares? But I give you guys a lot of credit because it's not easy. I'm Michelle Jerson, the Passport Mommy. We're all going through this if we're parents of toddlers, and that's why we're talking with Marshall Stevenson. We're going to talk more toddler topics coming up in a few.
Motherhood is a journey. Joining you on your greatest adventure, here's Michelle Jerson, the Passport Mommy.
We are talking toddler topics. I'm here with Marshall Stevenson, my good friend, dad, and comic in New York City. And we were just talking potty training. And also another thing that I think we're both going through right now is the going to bed routine. And we've touched on this in the past. And I have to say that our routine is quite long. And even when I do shut the door and think, okay, that's it. Nope. I hear mommy, 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 crying. I have to pee. I want this. I want that. Everything in the book. And of course I can't say no to the peeing, like we were just talking about with potty training, because you want them to feel that they can tell you they need to go, but most times they don't. So Marshall, what are you going through right now when it comes to your little one going to sleep at night?
We're having actually an issue where they're waking up in the middle of the night, and it's tied to the potty training because as I told you, she wasn't drinking much during the day in order to avoid having to pee in a pull-up, which is weird. So she's eating and drinking a lot late, and we discovered, or at least I think I discovered, that you would kind of ply her with food really late at night. Then she sleeps through the night. And if you don't, she gets up very unhappy in the middle of the night.
She's hungry.
Well, right. And now there are two schools of thought here. the doctor is kind of like, you've got to set these times and make it very routine, and then eventually it'll just stop. It's like sleep training. It's like if you just let them sleep it out, cry it out, then that meal will just be eliminated and your body will consume the calories it needs at another time of the day.
Right.
And so it's like they say, you know, make sure she doesn't eat much after dinner, or at least 2 hours before she goes to sleep, and then let her cry it out. But we have not found any of these things to play out. Maybe we're not, you know, cruel enough in our execution of these.
No,
like,
it's tough. It's
we're
really
not cruel
difficult
enough, so we screw up now. But now I've realized, because everything, like, I get, this is another thing that non-parents can't relate to. It's like you've got these like fixes, these creative fixes for your child, and so if we feed her right before she goes to sleep, like pizza, then she sleeps through the night. What would you do with that? Because every book says no pizza right before you go to sleep. I mean, there's not a doctor out there who would say that we were doing it properly, right?
Do you have a routine, like say where you'll do dinner and then maybe bath, book, song to sleep?
We do. Now, we are not great at having consistent dinner time because we sometimes will order, we'll sometimes go out, we'll sometimes eat. We don't really, you know, some restaurants will deliver in 10 minutes and some take an hour. So, there isn't. But the routine at night, my wife tries to give her a bath same time every night, and then we read books.
Okay. So there's still pretty much a routine like that. I know, because at one point, my daughter, she would eat dinner, we'd do the bath, and then she'd get into her crib and she'd be like, eat, 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 eat. And I was like, no. But one point I did take her out, but then I said, you know what? I don't want this to become a habit. And so I didn't do it. And then we just distracted her some other way. But that's really difficult because you obviously want to make sure that she is not hungry. But
yeah, here's the thing. What makes it different is your child eats a lot. So we're dealing with a child who didn't eat much during the day. So the problem is with her, and we got distracted by the dinner time thing, is she just eats light throughout the day. And so she gets, I mean, maybe you're supposed to eat like this. So she will eat small, because we're always asking her if she's hungry. We're not like, because we sit down and eat a meal, she'll eat nothing. She'll eat like a quarter of a chicken leg and then say, I'm not hungry anymore. So that's what it is. It's like, but we can't get her to feast at another time. It's like, do we mention that the child is otherwise like thriving and fine?
She is adorable and she's wonderful and she is such a great, great kid. I mean, she really is. And I hope, you know, it, like I said, in a year from now, we look back on all of this and just laugh, because I'm sure everybody has their challenges, but when you're going through it, it's really difficult. It's really difficult. But I know I go back and forth between, do I just do what I know is going to work to get them to go to sleep, or do I start training like I know I'm supposed to?
Invest in the long-term plan. Is it the quick fix to the long-term plan? And you cannot blame parents at all for going with the quick fix, because sometimes the quick fix is the right thing to do in the moment.
And you can't blame parents at all, because everybody's going to do what works for them. And I want to continue talking about this because I have so much more to say, especially when it comes to sleep training. But it's the end of the show. Marshall, thank you so much for joining me today. So much fun as always. And I'm sure we'll be back talking about the update very soon as far as what's going on with both of our daughters. I'm Michelle Jerson, the Passport Mommy. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you have a great rest of the day.